This is Grant's Production, live talk show, coming to you direct from the city of Tacoma, the city of destiny, 37 miles south of Seattle, Washington, in the northwest corner of the United States of America. And now this.
Experience post-traumatic stress disorder coupled under medical syndrome, as though one has a flashback of the prior century, like we're still living in the prehistoric dinosaur era of Mr. Activist. And we're having water hoses sprayed on us, but now in corporate medical America, it appears to one that emails not sprayed, but labeled, emotionally as a form known to justice as blacklisting. That helps me to introduce my guest today, Sidney Lee, of the African American Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Association. Good afternoon, Mr. Lee. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Mr. Lee, what is your background regarding Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Association?
Well, I'm the national president of the African American Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Association. It's an organization that came about because of the disparity that minority veterans were having receiving treatment at the Veterans Administration hospitals and other hospitals in the areas, whereby they needed assistance in receiving proper care and benefits. How I became selected is that I'd served 3 tours in Vietnam. And I, at that particular time, was the businessman of the year in the state of Washington. I've worked with veterans in Washington, D.C. with Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Association. I have a master's in business and a master in social science and in social work. And I was asked if I would help the veterans to basically become organized. As a result of that, we wrote letters, and we did the necessary requirements to have investigations conducted whereby it was proven that there was a disparity within the medical system and the treatment that African Americans and minorities were receiving within the VA medical system. As a result of that, we then became a national organization with offices in several different states.
So with that organization, how do you see that it's understood in the medical community? Is it fairly too new just yet, or is it also seen compared to like fibromyalgia that the symptoms have not thoroughly been all assessed yet?
No, the symptoms have not. It's basically fibromyalgia, as you had said it is. And the reason I said it is that the problems are not getting better, they're worse. Not only does the problem of post-traumatic stress disorder affect the veterans themselves, but it's the family members of them, because the family members are seeing their parents go through certain changes, and they in turn emulate it, which in turn creates the problem that we're having now within the communities. If you go to any prison, 70% of them are veterans that are suffering from PTSD and receiving treatment there. It's only going to get worse, primarily because now we have the Iraqi war, the Gulf War. The only difference, though, is that instead of just now dealing with the one symptom, PTSD, which of course causes a malaise of other illnesses within the system, the immune system, they're now having TBI, traumatic brain injury. And the two of those compounded together, of course, they're just, let's just say, there's a multiplicity. The problems that it's causing within the system, it overwhelms them, primarily because it's not geared toward that. You know, they were just beginning to come on board where there was some sort of understanding as to what PTSD was. However, if you recall, at the conclusion of the Vietnam era, all of the studies had been done on everyone with the exception of African American veterans.
So with the statistics, is PTSD seen more in African American or Caucasians, or even universal as far as Asians?
No, it's basically minorities and African Americans, primarily because in military services, 90% of those who see action or who are in positions whereby they face imminent danger are African Americans and minorities. Consequently, these are people who are bringing it back to the communities.
And as far as obtaining the diagnosis of PTSD, does it prohibit veterans from working? Are they still able to maintain socioeconomical lives?
Yes, they are. I'm rated 100% for PTSD, yet I operate 5 offices in the state of Washington and 7 out of offices in 7 different states. I attend conferences. I do the normal, what is ever to be considered as normal. As
like an American to maintain a job. So then if we had a piece of the pie and there were 4 parts of the pie, then what % constitutes for the PTSD that a person just basically has to state, I have that disease and my life is altered to obtain the disability?
10%.
And that is the minimum then?
That is the minimum. In actuality, you can have 0%, but 10% is where it actually affects the normal daily activities. When you have such a minimal amount, then things come into place such as nightmares, flashbacks, control factors, and as you know, this is where abuse comes from. It has gotten so bad that now in medical school, they had changed the way that they provide structure to medical students incoming. Now they're required to ask a minimal of 3 questions that would lead to the 17 symptoms of PTSD. And if a veteran or if an individual gives any type of indication as to what's having any of those 3, then they're supposed to refer them on to another clinician.
So what would you do as a perhaps overseer clinician yourself, being the head of this organization, to aid other physicians out there in diagnosing this matter in our conclusion of this interview today?
Well, we do several things. Number one, in addition to making diagnoses, we do refer them on so that they can receive additional medical care at either the VA hospital, the vet centers, or at, there are several, let's say, psychiatrists and psychologists that provide medical treatment, basically incognito, for those individuals who have it and or think that in some way or another it's going to affect their job positions, thereby them receiving treatment and such, it doesn't get back to their employer or to the military, and they don't have to worry about losing clearances or being able to carry weapons or any of the other things.
Well, thank you definitely for being the head in regards to assisting young men and women to find out how they can feel how they have this and how they actually can resolve it.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
I'm Vivian Grant with God's Crew. Until next time.